Welcome to Asian Star Trend. Our channel updates hot news about Asia's most popular stars. Please subscribe and comment to help us update better videos because he's the only reason I want to stay. Yu Long's quiet confession about Yang Miemie captures a generation's heart in today's entertainment world where love stories are often performed louder than their lived. Actor Yu Long did something radical. He whispered, "Because he is the only reason that makes me want to stay," he said in a recent interview, barely above a murmur. There were no tears, no dramatic pauses, just a single, honest sentence. Yet it landed like an emotional thunderclap. Those words, directed toward his rumored partner Yang Miemie, were not part of a scripted moment. There was no fanfare, no PR team nudging him toward a headline. It was vulnerability made visible, and audiences felt it. What makes the confession so powerful isn't just who he said it about, but how he said it. In a sea of exaggerated romance, Yu Long's restraint felt rare, even revolutionary. It wasn't about possession or performance, it was about presence. Staying. Choosing someone not just in public, but in silence, in stillness. For fans, it wasn't just a relationship reveal, it was a reminder of what real affection sounds like when stripped of noise. The moment has since gone viral, not because of shock value, but because it awakens something deeply human, the desire to be someone's reason to stay, whether their love story unfolds on screen or off. One thing is certain: Yu Long didn't just confess love, he gave viewers a glimpse of what it means to love deeply, quietly, and with conviction. And in doing so, he reminded us that sometimes, the softest voices echo the loudest. Yu Long opens up about Yang Miemie, the one who cries for me, not for himself. When asked why he chose Yang Miemie, Yu Long didn't rush to reply. He paused, smiled faintly. And in that quiet moment, something shifted. His expression softened, as if he were replaying scenes from a film only he could see. Then, gently, he spoke. "Maybe everyone only sees how much I spoil him, how much I love him," he said. "But they don't realize, the one who truly cares for me, who gives quietly and never asks for anything in return, is actually him. He rarely cries for himself, but he often sheds tears because of me." It was the kind of statement that doesn't just make headlines, it makes people feel. There was no performance in his voice, no calculated charm. Just a man speaking the truth about someone he loves. This marked the first time Yu Long publicly revealed such vulnerability. And perhaps that's why the moment resonated so deeply. In an industry where affection is often curated for cameras, his quiet honesty stood out like a pulse of sincerity. More than just a confession, Yu Long's words invited reflection. What does it mean to be loved not loudly, but loyally? To be the reason someone stays strong, even when they don't show it. In describing Yang Miemie not as a passive recipient of affection, but as the quiet strength behind him, Yu Long gave audiences a new lens through which to view love, not as grand gestures, but as everyday sacrifices, unnoticed by the world but deeply felt. And in doing so, he reminded us, true love often lives not in declarations, but in devotion. Yu Long finds his safe haven in Yang Miemie's quiet love. True love rarely arrives with fireworks. More often, it shows up in quiet acts, the umbrella held out in a sudden downpour, the warm drink offered without a word, the soft glance that catches your worry before you speak. And sometimes, it's found in the tears someone sheds, not for themselves, but for you. Yu Long, typically poised and composed in public, recently let that composure slip when speaking about Yang Miemie. In doing so, he offered a glimpse into a kind of love that's seldom seen in the spotlight, unfiltered, unforced, deeply human. He rarely cries for himself, Yu Long said softly, but he often cries because of me. It wasn't just a line, it was a revelation. In an industry filled with curated moments and scripted emotions, Yu Long's words felt real, raw, and profoundly moving. For a generation taught to seek dramatic declarations, he reminded everyone that love's truest form is often gentle, steadfast, and unseen. While Yu Long commands attention with his presence, Yang Miemie remains the quiet force beside him. He doesn't seek headlines, play to the crowd, or chase trends. Instead, he simply stays. In that silence, Yu Long found his sanctuary, a partner who carries his burdens without needing applause. Their story has become more than a romance, it's a reflection of the love we crave. of the peace we hope to find in someone's presence, of what it means to be truly known and still loved. In Miemie's quiet devotion, Yulong didn't just find a partner. He found home. Yulong chose the one who stayed, a quiet love that changed him. Yulong didn't fall in love with the loudest person in the room. He fell for someone who noticed the quiet things, someone who remembered he didn't like spicy food, someone who saw his exhaustion before he ever said a word, someone who made soup late into the night and never mentioned it, someone who placed a jacket over him between cold night shoots, someone who reached for his hand not for show, but to calm him. These weren't grand gestures. In the rush of set lights and schedules, most people might have missed them. But Yulong noticed every single one. And slowly, awkwardly at first, then more tenderly, he began to give his heart. "I didn't know how to express my feelings before," he once admitted. "But after meeting him, I learned that admission, soft, almost whispered, held more power than any scripted line." Yulong, often praised for his cool demeanor and composed image, began to change. He started apologizing first. He listened more. He stayed instead of shutting down. He didn't become perfect, he became more human, and the reason wasn't fame or compatibility. It was love, patient, unassuming, quietly transformative. In a world that often tells us to chase partners who dazzle, impress, or dominate the room, Yulong chose differently. He chose the one who stood in the shadows, holding space for him. The one who never asked to be seen, only to be there. He had known people brighter than Miemie. But brightness can fade. What lasts is warmth, and in Miemie, Yulong found a love that didn't need to shine, it simply stayed. In a world of noise, Yulong found his quiet forever. In Miemie, in a world curated through filters and performances, Miemie didn't win Yulong's heart with appearances but with quiet presence, with soul. And that kind of love doesn't dim with time, it deepens. We often expect love to be loud, grand gestures, dramatic confessions, viral-worthy moments. But the most enduring love hides in stillness, a light left on without asking, the silent handhold in a crowded room, the soft voice that never demands but always understands. Miemie never staged a headline-making confession. He never sought to become a spectacle. He simply stayed, through stress, through silence, through sleepless nights and unglamorous days. And that, more than anything, is what made Yulong stay, too. He doesn't need to be perfect, Yulong once said. He just needs to be real. In that single sentence, many found their own quiet longing for a love that is steady, honest, and safe. Mention Miemie in an interview, and watch Yulong's face shift. His expression softens. His eyes speak what no script could write, unwavering affection, the glow of someone who's truly seen. It's not practiced, it's instinct, because real love doesn't shout. It stays in the vast, chaotic sea of life. Two people found one another not because they were the brightest or the boldest, but because they recognized each other's silences. When one grew tired, the other made space. When one ached, the other stood close. Not out of obligation, but choice. Not the most glamorous, but the most grounding. Not the loudest, but the most true. Not a fairy tale but a life, lived hand in hand. And in this fast, overwhelming world, may we all find our own Miemie or Yulong, someone who won't just say "I love you," but quietly, unfailingly, stay.